My name is Trace, and I am now 28 years old. I've faced numerous challenges since I was 19, stemming from a complex family situation. At that age, I was a vibrant college sophomore studying psychology, driven by my aspiration to become a clinical psychologist, a dream inspired by the therapist who helped me navigate the grief of losing my father during my childhood. Life at college was promising. I was academically successful, surrounded by the support of friends, and I even had plans to study abroad. But everything took an unexpected turn when my mother, Maggie, who is just 55, fell seriously ill with a chronic condition that severely affected her muscles and joints, causing relentless pain and increasingly limiting her mobility. Medical professionals told us that her condition was progressive and incurable. At home, my younger sister, Anna, who was only 17, was dealing with typical teenage challenges. With our father having died in a traffic accident when Anna was a baby, our small family had always relied heavily on each other. Our mother had worked as a legal secretary to support us, but her illness meant she could no longer work. Facing these harsh realities in my tiny dorm room, surrounded by my psychology textbooks, I knew I had to abandon my dreams. There were no other viable options. My mother needed constant care, and it was unfair to burden young Anna with such responsibilities. I vividly remember the day I withdrew from college. My advisor earnestly tried to persuade me to consider part-time studies or a leave of absence, but neither option addressed our immediate financial needs. At 22, I left school and took a full-time job as a receptionist at a local accounting firm. Though the pay was modest, it was steady, and by moving back home, we could save on rent. The transition was hard. I swapped lively academic discussions for answering phones and handling office tasks. Evenings were spent aiding my mother's rehabilitation and helping Anna with her studies. Many nights, I lay awake questioning my decision, yet I continued to push forward, clinging to hope. Over the years, I rose to an administrative role, slightly boosting my income, which helped cover living costs and my mother's medical expenses. I ensured Anna had all she needed for school. As time passed, the likelihood of returning to college seemed ever more distant. Yet I never completely let go of that hope, always balancing it with the reality of my responsibilities. My heart was filled with a burning desire to provide my niece, Anna, with the opportunities one once had. Thanks to my dedicated efforts, Anna graduated from high school with a series of scholarships, easing her path to college. I was immensely proud of her, overjoyed by the fact that she would be the first in our family to earn a college degree. The day she received her college acceptance letter, we celebrated with tears of joy and a trip to the local ice cream shop, a nod to a childhood tradition my parents had started when I excelled in school. During this period, I had put my own dreams on hold, including further education and travel, to devote myself to caring for my mother and supporting Anna. Despite my exhaustion, I continued to reassure myself that these sacrifices were for my family's future. Yet it was challenging not to feel a twinge of envy or dissatisfaction as I watched my friends from college advance in their successful careers and vibrant lives through social media posts. However, there were moments of pure joy, like when my mother had good days, when we could watch old movies together, or when Anna would call from college, excitedly sharing her achievements and stories of making new friends. These moments reassured me that my sacrifices were meaningful. Over time, though, I began to feel underappreciated. My mother's health was more stable, but she still required considerable care and rarely acknowledged the sacrifices I made for her, occasionally uttering hurtful comments about what she perceived as my inadequacies. Meanwhile, Anna's contact became sporadic after she started college. She often reached out only when needing financial help, rarely inquiring about us at home. When I browsed through Anna's social media, I saw her thriving socially, sharing photos from trips and outings that seemed worlds away from my own life, widening the emotional distance between us. Even when she returned home on breaks, she spent most of her time reconnecting with old high school friends, largely ignoring our mother and me. However, a significant change occurred last week when Anna graduated from college. Despite everything, I felt a genuine surge of pride and happiness for her achievement. I had planned for months and decided to give her a simple, elegant watch for her graduation, nothing flashy, but perfect for job interviews. It was a sentimental gesture, echoing the memory of receiving my first watch from my father at 18. The graduation ceremony was a profoundly emotional experience for me. I wept as Anna walked across the stage to receive her diploma. Yet, at the celebration that followed, my mother and I seemed almost invisible to her, overshadowed by her college friends and her new boyfriend, Harry, whose indifference made us feel like outsiders. This moment underscored the bittersweet nature of my sacrifices, highlighting the complex emotions of pride and distance, hope and isolation, in our family's journey. When I approached Anna to present her with the gift, she brushed me off, claiming she was too busy. There I stood, gift in hand, enveloped in an awkward silence, my heart sinking. I retreated to a corner of the room, trying to hold back tears. It was there that I unintentionally overheard a conversation between Anna and her boyfriend Harry. She was telling her friends how she felt embarrassed by our family and was looking forward to moving out and starting her new job. She expressed her frustration about feeling held back by us and mentioned her plans to cut ties once she left. Hearing these harsh words from Anna, whom I had deeply loved and supported, sacrificing my aspirations to help with her homework and finance her education, rather than spend on myself, left me reeling with a tumult of emotions. It was a stark revelation of her true feelings towards us. The following day, I gathered the courage to confront her, hoping for an apology or at least some understanding. Instead, I was met with severe criticism. She coldly stated that it was pathetic how I had given up my life for our mother and that she had never requested such sacrifices. She accused me of being jealous of her success and trying to make her feel guilty. During our heated argument, our mother, far from defending me, accused me of being overly dramatic. She suggested I should just let Anna be and be happy for her. At 28, with no degree, a stagnant job, and caring for an unappreciative mother and a resentful sister, I felt a profound sense of loss, my youth and dreams slipping away. I seriously considered the need to find a new place to rediscover myself and focus on my own needs. Yet, the guilt of potentially abandoning our mother, especially if her health deteriorated, weighed heavily on me. These thoughts haunted me, pushing me to communicate my feelings more clearly to both my mother and Anna. I rehearsed over and over, choosing my words carefully to avoid sounding accusatory. I invited Anna over, suggesting we go out for dinner in an attempt to reconcile. Though she agreed reluctantly, I spent the day tidying up and preparing our mother's favorite lasagna, hoping to foster a moment of family warmth that might soften everyone's hearts. However, the evening did not go as planned. Our mother started the conversation by accusing me of making her feel guilty for her illness. She defensively said, "I never asked you to quit college. It was your choice. Do you think I wanted to ruin your life by getting sick?" She recounted how she had cared for her sick father for years without complaint. I tried to explain that I wasn't blaming her, just wanting to express my feelings, but she refused to listen. Anna remained mostly silent throughout, occasionally chipping in that I was being too sensitive and that she didn't mean her words the way I took them. Yet her demeanor said otherwise. She talked about her achievements, her new job offers, and her plans to move to the city. With a dismissive look, she pointedly asked me, "What have you done? You're almost 28, still living at home, just a secretary." At that moment, unable to contain my emotions any longer, tears streamed down my face. The pain of unappreciated sacrifices and the stark contrast between our paths were overwhelming. As I faced Anna, tears streamed down my face and I asked her, "Why do you blame me for everything that feels wrong in your life?" Our mother accused me of stirring up trouble, but I declared that from now on, I would no longer intervene or sacrifice my well-being for them. They seemed shocked by my stance, as if I was exaggerating my suffering. I retorted, "Looking back at these past 8 years, my life has been nothing but misery." Feeling a profound disconnect, I decided there was no reason for me to stay. With a heavy heart, I left the house, my chest tight with a mix of grief and relief. I'm currently staying with my lifelong friend, Natalia, who I've known since high school. She's always been supportive and remains one of the few friends I've kept in touch with over the years. Despite feeling guilty and considering a return home, my resolve was hardened when my mother called me ungrateful. That was the last straw. I ceased all financial support and told my mother that I needed to focus on myself. She tried to guilt-trip me by claiming her health would deteriorate without me, but I stood firm, suggesting she consider other options, like hiring home care or asking my sister to step up. She outright refused. Following a series of accusatory and pleading messages from her, I made the tough decision to block her number. Anna hasn't reached out at all. Natalia's apartment isn't spacious, but it offers me refuge. It feels odd to have free evenings without the rush of home responsibilities. Adapting to this newfound quietude is strange. I'm slowly reacquainting myself with personal freedom and starting to look forward to the future with hope. It has been a month since I left. Living with Natalia feels like breathing fresh air after being confined for so long. With some savings, I enrolled in community college, taking an introductory psychology class and an English writing class. Returning to education has been exhilarating and nerve-wracking. Initially, I worried about being the oldest student and keeping up with the coursework. However, my fears were unfounded, as there were other adult learners in my classes, some even older. Juggling home duties, work, and school is daunting, but the stress is of a different kind, one that feels like it's fostering growth rather than mere survival. I've also started therapy to address my familial issues, learn to set boundaries, and boost my self-esteem. My therapist is helping me understand why I felt compelled to sacrifice so much of myself. Last week, I bumped into my Aunt Dorothy at the supermarket. She's always been like a second mother to me, and she inquired about my sudden silence towards my family. I explained my situation briefly. While it's challenging to navigate these familial dynamics, I'm learning to prioritize my own needs and well-being. As I continue to adjust to this new chapter, I feel a mixture of excitement and anxiety about rediscovering who I am beyond my roles at home. It feels like a weight has been lifted, knowing that I don't have to bear all the burdens by myself anymore, especially with the unexpected support that has recently come my way. One day, my aunt invited me to a nearby cafe for a significant conversation over coffee. She acknowledged the sacrifices I've made for our family, noting how I dropped out of college at 22 to support everyone. She expressed her desire to help and decided to give me a portion of her inheritance. Thanks to her generosity, I received $200,000, which has opened up incredible new possibilities for my life. More than the money, I was touched that my decade-long efforts were finally recognized by someone in the family. With my aunt's help, I've taken the first steps toward a fresh start. I began searching for a new job, and last week, I landed an entry-level position in the HR department of a local nonprofit organization. The job offers a slightly higher salary than my previous one and provides opportunities for career growth. Most importantly, it's meaningful work that aligns with my interests. I am cautiously optimistic about this new chapter, feeling a sense of purpose I hadn't in years. I've also resumed hiking, a hobby I loved but had set aside due to my responsibilities. There's a long road ahead to untangle years of codependency and rebuild my life, but I'm committed to moving forward positively, no matter the challenges. Trusting myself and my decisions more, I've seen significant changes that are vastly different from my previous life. My deep interest in psychology has fueled my courage to make these changes. For the first time, I am in a workplace where my efforts are recognized and valued. I'm continuing with my community college classes, which are going well. Next year, I plan to earn my associate degree, and with continued support from my aunt, I aim to transfer to a 4-year university to pursue a bachelor's degree in psychology. Balancing work and school is challenging, but I'm tackling it with more motivation than ever before. Living with Natalia has helped me feel connected to the community, and while there are tough times, I try not to dwell on them too much. My therapist has been instrumental in helping me manage my emotions and maintain healthy boundaries. Anna has graduated and moved to start her new job in another city. She sent me a message wishing me well, which I haven't responded to. It saddens me that our relationship isn't what it once was, and while I cherish our close moments from the past, I also realize that I must accept this change. I hope for a future conversation where we might reconnect, and surprisingly, that opportunity came sooner than I expected. Before my sister moved, we met up one more time. Initially, I considered leaving due to the tense atmosphere, but I chose to stay and listen. At first, my mother appeared older and more worn than I remembered, which stirred a pang of guilt. However, as the evening progressed, she began to open up and finally acknowledge the support I had given her. This acknowledgement was a small yet significant step toward healing our strained relationship. She confessed that for many years, she had not fully appreciated me and was now fearful of losing me altogether. During our conversation, she revealed her journey towards self-care and self-prioritization, aiming to find a balance between her needs and those of others without crossing into selfishness. It's a delicate balancing act, and while I, too, am navigating my way through forgiving my family and ensuring I don't allow myself to be taken advantage of again, I recognize the road ahead will have its ups and downs. Despite the challenges, I'm confident I'm on the right track and proud of myself for having the strength to initiate these changes. 2 months after moving out, I got a call from my Aunt Dorothy informing me that my mother had been admitted to the hospital. Her autoimmune disease had worsened significantly since I left. She'd been neglecting her medication, struggling to manage rehabilitation alone, and failing to keep up with daily chores, rejecting meal delivery services because of her distrust in others' cooking. She had trouble shopping even at nearby stores, leaving her with nothing but spoiled food at home. Following her hospitalization, she had no choice but to accept home care arranged by Aunt Dorothy, including assistance from a social worker and home health aides. During this period, I received a surprising message from my sister Anna. "Trace, I need to talk to you. Can we chat on the phone when you're free?" Over the phone, she recounted a family gathering where Aunt Dorothy had divulged my decade-long sacrifices and the recent events leading up to our mother's illness. My decision to drop out of college to support the family financially and harsh criticisms from our cousins Megan and Tiffany at a family event had overwhelmed Anna. "How could you say such harsh things about your sister, who gave up years of her life? Anna, how could you overlook the fact that your carefree college days were possible because of her sacrifices?" Faced with criticism from family and the stark reality of our mother's condition, Anna expressed deep regret for her past actions. "Trace, I'm really sorry. I was foolish, seeking recognition in my new circle. Ashamed of where I came from, I fooled myself into believing my successes were purely my own and not built upon your sacrifices." Acknowledging her mistakes, Anna mentioned she would return home for the weekend to reflect on how she might contribute to our mother's ongoing care. Anna also offered to contribute a part of her earnings towards our mother's caregiving expenses. However, I'm not quite ready to fully accept her sudden change of heart. It's going to take some time for me to see if her actions really back up her words. "Trace, I'd like to take some time off to meet and talk face to face," Anna suggested. After giving it some thought, I agreed to a brief meeting over the weekend. When she arrived at the cafe, Anna looked slightly leaner than before. "Trace, I'm genuinely sorry it took others pointing it out for me to see the error of my ways. Though we're apart, please let me help with the caregiving costs using part of my salary. Also, I'll use my long vacations to visit Mom a few times a year and stay in touch with her online." I listened to Anna without sensing any dishonesty, but given our past, I couldn't immediately place my trust in her. Would her promised financial support and regular visits continue? I decided to watch and see how things unfold over time. As for our mother, I occasionally get updates from Aunt Dorothy. Initially, she was bewildered, but she has slowly gotten used to the caregiving service, and her relationship with the caregivers seems to be positive. I'm not ready to see her in person yet, but knowing that she's adjusting well provides some comfort. Dorothy's efforts have indeed prompted much-needed changes within our family. Still, only time will tell if these changes are sincere. For now, I'm concentrating on my studies and work, maintaining a cautious distance to observe whether each family member lives up to their responsibilities. I've chosen to forge my own path, focusing on my happiness while seeking a balanced relationship with my family.